Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am Malinga Sise of Urban Harvest Organic Farm. For all of you who have subscribed to my YouTube channel, I am so grateful. And for those who are still new, please consider subscribing to the YouTube channel. Click on the notification bell so that you never miss out any upload. Share this video, comment in the comment section down below, and I'll be so grateful. Today, I'm really super excited because I want us to learn something very important in this project. This is one of the things that most of you have asked me. And there are these three questions that people have always asked me. And today I feel like us discussing about them. Number one is that, Sisi, my birds started laying very well, but along the way, they stopped laying. And number two is that, why are my birds laying very tiny eggs? And then number three is that my birds, they are now 22 weeks, but they are not yet laying. So guys, I want us to look at these three questions and really understand it very well, because as you're planning to start this project, I don't want you to go into poultry farming and really you complain and have these three questions. Okay, I want you to go into poultry farming and really see something good about it, and you spread it to everyone, and everyone can be able to embrace it. So please today, stay tuned till the end and I'll be so grateful. So as I told you earlier on, I want us to tackle these three questions that you, my subscribers, have always asked me. Number one is my birds are now 22 weeks, but they are not yet laying. And then my birds started laying very well and they stopped laying. And then the last one is that my birds are really laying very small eggs. Well, when we bring these birds, we first brood them. But I want to tell you that in the brooder, it is where a bird's life begins, and birds must be handled very well in the brooder. Actually, the way you handle your baby chicks in the brooder, it is how they will perform in future. And that's why I tell you that we must really do the brooding perfectly well. And I remember in this flock, when the first day I brought in these birds, I gave you all the details. Actually, I was giving videos every day how we are taking care of these birds in the brooder. So if you've not yet watched those videos, please scroll back and watch those videos. It will really help you, because from the very first day you bring the birds into the farm, that is where their life begins from. And the way you will handle them in the brooder, the 4 weeks that these birds will stay in the brooder, it is very important time in their life, and that also determines their performance. And then there are some factors that you must consider if you really want your birds to perform well. Number one is that please make sure you vaccinate your birds as it is written in the vaccination schedule. I have told you several times that let us try as much as possible to do this vaccination. It is really very important. And then number two is that please try as much as possible to give your birds enough feeds. If you give these birds enough feeds, there is no way they're going to miss out laying big eggs, because it is through these feeds that we give these birds that will help these birds to perform well, that will help these birds to lay eggs. And then besides giving enough feeds, make sure that the feeds are mixed with all the nutrients that is required in their feeds. Well, the first day that you bring these birds into the farm, I normally give them these pellets. Then from week 5, I give them growers mash, of which I have all the videos that I've put in the channel. And then the growers mash, I told you clearly that I normally give the broiler feeds, because in that time, birds need to eat feeds that will make them grow and gain weight. And then from week 12, that is when I start giving them the layers mash. So please try as much as possible to see that your birds are eating feeds which are really good for their for their body, because if they don't eat feeds which are good for their body, trust me that your birds will not lay at the right time. Your birds will not lay big eggs. Your birds will lay and stop laying along the way. When I say your birds will start laying at the right time, I mean that from at least 16 weeks, between 16 weeks to 22 weeks. Okay, the most appropriate is between 16 weeks to 18 weeks. If you see an egg around there, just know what you've been doing is really super well. But sometimes it will stretch up to 22 weeks. Beyond 22 weeks, if you've not yet seen an egg, that means there is a problem. That means there is danger. As a farmer, you should start crying, actually. Okay? So from 16 weeks to 22 weeks, please, those birds should have started laying. And okay, most birds do not start at 16 weeks. Mine here at the farm, all the flocks that I have brought, I've already started laying at 18 weeks. Exactly 18 weeks, the birds start laying eggs. So please, let us try as much as possible to give them the feeds that have the right nutrients and enough feeds. Okay? And then when we talk about drinking water, the feeds go hand in hand with drinking water. Make sure that the birds have enough drinking water. You guys, there is this incident where you go in a farm and the drinking water is done. No one is there to hide for the birds the water. You see, these feeds that they eat chokes them a lot. So they need to eat the feeds and drink water at the same time. They eat, they drink, they eat, they drink. So make sure that there is enough drinking water in the farm. And actually, if I go back about the feeding, when the birds start laying eggs, make sure that all the birds are feeding at the same time. There is this incident where you will enter a farm and you'll find that feeders are not enough for the birds. Make sure feeders are enough for the birds, that when you put your feeds like this, all the birds are able, have the privilege to eat at the same time. In that way, the birds will perform well and you will not have any complaint. Okay? And then let us also look at diseases in our birds. Let us really be sure that the birds are not sick, because some of the reason why your birds will start laying very well and they will stop laying along the way is some of these diseases. You might find that birds have worms in the stomach. You might find that birds have coccidiosis and you even don't know it, and that is the reason why they are not laying. And if we talk about laying tiny eggs, when these birds are suffering from Newcastle disease, guys, they will lay very tiny eggs. They will lay very soft shell eggs, and you'll get damage almost every day. And then if you fail to treat it or you fail to vaccinate the birds along the way, they will even stop in laying. So those are some of the reasons why your birds will lay tiny eggs, and the eggs which are really, the shells are really very soft. Because I had one of you ask me that I'm even mixing the feeds well, but the shells are still very soft. So Newcastle disease will always make your birds have soft shell eggs. And then let us also avoid stress in our birds. Okay, there are so many cases that will bring stress among our birds, especially now. Like me, last time I was removing the manure from their droppings from the house. That day the birds really got so stressed, because carrying the things from one place to another really stressed them. And then when I brought in new bags of coffee husk, really my birds got so stressed in that personally I was like, oh my God, this is serious. And trust me, the next day they did not perform to my expectation. So let us try as much as possible to avoid stress among these birds. In that way, we shall not complain about this project. And then if you have decided to use these herbal remedies, please, let us try to be consistent. Let's try to be consistent in using them, and we shall see good results. I've always told you that let us not start using these herbal remedies when the birds are sick. Let us try as much as possible to try to be consistent. These are herbal remedies. Even if you give your birds every day, they will not have any side effects on them. Now, like me here with the ginger, since I have seen that it will make my birds drink enough water, birds very lively, feed on enough feeds, I always give them, I almost give them weekly. I skip days and give, because with ginger, for me, it is very easy for me to get it and give to the birds. So if you've decided to use herbal remedies, please try as much as possible to be consistent in them. And then also I can say the breeds of the birds also matters, but I believe all the breeds are good so long as you do the right thing. And then let us try to consider biosecurity, guys. If we don't consider biosecurity, our birds will have issues. Our birds will really have problems. Make sure that before someone enters your farm, there is a foot bath at the entrance. Let them dip their feet there and they enter the farm. And do not entertain so many visitors. Okay? I don't want to tell you that don't allow people to go into your farm to learn. Now, some of us who really want to inspire guys out there, we cannot avoid people coming into our farms. But when someone is coming into your farm, make sure that there is a foot bath. Make sure that they will disinfect themselves before they enter your farm. If not, you'll have diseases in and out, and in that way, your birds will fail to lay eggs, or your birds will lay tiny eggs, or will lay eggs and stop along the way. And then, of course, let's deworm our birds. Let us try to, as much as possible, to deworm these birds, because we might be there and the birds have worms in their stomach. These worms also make this bird not to lay well. So let's try as much as possible to deworm our birds. You can use the herbal remedies that I'm using here, or you can buy this other medicine. And then for those who are keeping local birds, try as much as possible to be careful with them, because these local birds carry these diseases, especially this Newcastle disease. Even the turkeys, they normally carry this smallpox. So try as much as possible to also make sure that there is a foot bath at the entrance where you're keeping your local birds. Because like for me here, last week they were suffering from Newcastle, because the chicken that I buy from the market always carry diseases. So since they were just loitering around, I think others ate the bones from this chicken and they contracted Newcastle disease. Immediately I had to treat them, and actually that is how my birds inside survive. So for those who are doing two projects, the purely local birds and these other exotic birds, please try as much as possible to be really very, very careful. Even the family members should be careful. Now, as we are really doing this project from home, we are at a risk. We are really at a risk because, there are so many people at home. You may tell them to do other things and they don't do it the way you want it. Or if you're not there, sometimes they tend to do other things. So in that way, your birds are always at a risk. So try as much as possible to make sure that you sensitize the family members about how to keep these birds. And then I've always told that please try to be present in your farm. As a farmer, always be present in your farm to see the things which is going on. In that way, you will not complain. And most people have asked me that when you're using these herbal remedies, can you use also this other medicine at the same time? Please, if you've decided that you're going to give them these herbal remedies, do not give this medicine. And if you've decided you'll give the medicine, give only the medicine, and then you'll use the herbal remedies later. But I see that somehow you will be a bit confused, because you will not know which one has helped you, whether it is this other medicine or the herbal remedies. So when you decide to use the herbal remedies, please try as much as possible to use the herbal remedies. And then on the vaccination, to me, I will tell you, please try as much as possible to vaccinate the birds. Vaccinate your birds. I don't want to tell you that don't vaccinate the birds because you're using these herbal remedies. Vaccinate the birds, because if us, the human beings, are also vaccinated, we also vaccinate ourselves. So please, also these birds, please vaccinate them, because diseases like Newcastle disease, diseases like Guamboro, diseases like the fall typhoid, if it affects your flock, you will not like it. So let us try as much as possible to prevent and protect these birds from getting these diseases. And then after, when the birds have started laying eggs, please, if you have decided that you will give these birds feeds early in the morning by 6, please make sure that every day by 6, the birds are eating their feeds. And then we normally actually give twice, in the morning and around afternoon. It is you, the farmer, to choose the convenient time for your birds for feeding. So when you decide that this particular time is when I'm going to give the birds feeds, please try as much as possible to give the birds feeds at the right time. In that way, the birds will continue laying eggs, and big eggs. Because one thing that you must know is that when these birds start laying eggs, they become so sensitive. Anything that is, any change in their feeding, any change in the time, any change in anything inside the farm, it will affect their laying. That is why most of you, your birds can start laying very well, then they drop in the laying. Because when the birds start laying eggs, it is really very sensitive to deal with these birds. Now, like for me here, I want to tell you that we have reached 80% of our production. And I did vaccination yesterday of Newcastle, because I told you that at 16 weeks I was supposed to vaccinate these birds, of which I did not do it, but I did the vaccination yesterday. But I want to assure you that after the vaccination, today the laying has dropped a little bit because of that vaccination. So those are some of the things that can happen to your birds, but it is a normal thing. So if you really want to enjoy poultry farming, let us really try as much as possible to follow all these guidelines. In that way, we shall really not regret when we start this project. But I really want to be honest that with poultry farming, if you follow all the things that you're supposed to do and all the things you're doing them right, believe me or not, your birds will really lay eggs. Your birds will really perform well. You just imagine, I showed you last time how the birds are really laying double yolk eggs, and mine is not yet even one month. So the more you do the right thing, the more you will progress. And I want to let you know that please always start with few numbers and learn from it. And remember that there is no project that is very easy. Everything is hard, and it is through the passion and the love you have for something that you will be able to achieve it and be successful. So please, for today, that is all I had for you. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for always coming back and watching my videos. Please don't forget to comment today and tell me which country you're watching me from. And if you're still new, please consider subscribing to the YouTube channel. Share this video, comment in the comment section down below, and I will be so grateful. Tell me which country you're watching me from, and I'll be smiling. See you next time. Love you all. Bye-bye.